Hi, this is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I've got a rare Golden Age book I recently picked up, and I thought it would be kind of fun and interesting to talk about the rarity and scarcity of books. Stay tuned. All right, before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. Now, it may be shocking to people, but I don't actually film the unboxings for every book that I purchased. So I have a book that I recently picked up right here, which is Suspense Comics number 4. And I've shown Suspense Comics number 11 and number 8 recently in various unboxing videos. And this one is the first L.B. Cole cover in that run. It may also be his first cover. I have been trying to figure that out. It is difficult to determine. I haven't had any luck really doing any searches online for what his first cover would be, but I think this might be. If you're not familiar with this run, there's another book called Suspense Comics number 3. I consider this to kind of be like the poor man's Suspense Comics number 3. It is still extremely expensive, but Suspense Comics 3, which I'll plug a picture of right up here, is probably the most desirable pre-code horror book in existence. I mean, it's a 1.0, I think, sold a couple years ago for about $20,000. And so it's an Alex Schomburg cover with L.B. Cole interior. I mean, it is an incredible cover, and this one has a very similar theme to it, but it's just it doesn't pop the way that one does, and doesn't have quite the same content. What I thought would be kind of fun to talk about was how it was scarcity with these books, as well as where that scarcity index comes from. And so I feel like I've got some cool stuff to show with that. So the first thing is, I think we've all probably have an Overstreet price guide, or most of us have an Overstreet price guide. If you don't, it's always kind of a good tool to just have around. This is the 2018-2019 one. It's a couple years old, but what you will often see, so I've got it flipped, or marked on the page with Suspense Comics, and see if I don't know if it'll focus or not, I can't really tell, but so down here, next to issue 3, what you'll see is the word scarce in parentheses. And so what that's referring to is the Gerber Scarcity Index. And where that comes from is these books. So these are big, kind of heavy books. And I think that if you are even a little bit interested in Golden Age books, thinking about getting into them, I recommend going and picking these up. So they're pretty expensive if you buy them new. I picked up mine used on eBay. They're still, I think I still probably spent like $70-$80, but these books are, they are incredible. So take a look here. So there's 2 volumes. So it covers books A through J and then K through Z. And you can see they're just, we'll go over this one. On the cover here, you've got just some of the most desirable Golden Age books that there are. Like Phantom Lady number 17, which is just basically the pinnacle good girl art cover from Matt Baker. You've got the Mr. Mystery, Needle in the Eye, pre-code horror book. And then you'll also see some books that you may have never even, come across before. There's, and like I mentioned, there it is. Suspense Comics number 3. That's how big this book is. That's why it's on, this cover. But if you flip through these books, this is what it is. This was a book that was published in 1989, and by Ernst and Mary Gerber. And basically what they did is they spent about 5 years going around to different collectors and collections and dealers and capturing photos of the covers of every Golden Age book. And they compiled them all in this book. There's some cool stuff at the beginning, just some general knowledge about comics and preservation and collecting, that kind of thing. But one of his thoughts was that Golden Age books gained a lot of popularity through the late 50s and into the 60s. But then what he saw was, because a little before my time, was that their popularity started to decline in the 70s and into the 80s. And he felt it was because these books were just so uncommon, people wouldn't see them, that they're, out of sight, out of mind. And so the demand for them started to decrease. And so he thought if he could, this because it's pre-internet, if he could catalog all these books and make something available to people, that they'll see them and be like, man, those are incredible covers, and people would start searching them out. And that is the effect it had. It's actually, some of the things I've read is it's thought that this book is one of the books or one of the reasons why artists like L.B. Cole really came back into the spotlight, because people saw these incredible covers that were created and started searching them out. So, if you open this book, basically it's just, it's page after page of covers, just all in order, every run, essentially every Golden Age cover. Now you'll see occasionally there's a blank, and it's because even after 5 years of searching, it was not able to get a picture of that cover. And so, but for the most part, it is extremely complete. And so the way it works is, and I've got Suspense Comics. Well, actually, no. Let's talk about the scarcity index first. So what he's got is, so he because he went around and he was cataloging all these books and seeing all these collections, he could see, and through talking to dealers, how rare certain books were, how hard certain books were to find. And so he developed what was called the Gerber Scarcity Index. And so you can see here, this starts over here, goes down, he has a little description for each one, and continues up at the top, goes down again. And what it's doing is it's got numbers from 1 through 11. And where 1 means the book is very common, and 11 means they knew the book was printed, but there isn't any known copy in existence. And now this is all with respect to Golden Age books. This is rarity with respect to Golden Age books. So like a 4 is considered average scarcity. So this is average scarcity for Golden Age, not for like average scarcity for a modern book. So a 4 means, from the perspective of this book, that there are approximately 1,000 to 2,000 copies of that book in existence. A 5 is 200 to 1,000. A 6 is 50 to 200. A 7 is 21 to 50. An 8 is 11 to 20. A 9 is 6 to 10. And a 10 is less than 5. And then I said like an 11 means they don't know of any that actually exist. And so this is all an approximation from what he saw at that time. An equivalent that you can look at today would be the CGC index, or now the CBCS index. And so now obviously every book isn't slabbed. A lot of people like to keep their books ungraded, and so that it's not a perfect corollary, but it does give you a pretty good idea. And not every book is kind of like slab worthy. It's not, people aren't really rushing out to get it slabbed because there maybe isn't demand for the book. But it does give you a very good representation of how rare a book is. And so if we jump to this page here, I've got the page for Suspense Comics marked. And you can see, up at the top here, here's Suspense Comics 3, and here's the one that I just showed, which was Suspense Comics number 4. And then from my prior unboxings, you can see here Suspense Comics 11 with that devil cover, and then Suspense Comics 8 here with the creepy guy with the with the spider cover. And so then what he has is, just to basically it's to make everything fit. Every once in a while he'll have, you can see on the bottom here, text that has each one of those books listed in order. And so down here at the bottom, we've got Suspense Comics, and it has a unique number next to it, which is at the bottom of each picture. And so you can tie it to that number. And then when you look at that, it's a little table. And in that table, there's various information, about the publication date, who the cover artist was, who did the interior art, when it's available. So it's similar stuff to that you'd often find in Overstreet. But then what it also has is for each book, it has what's called SI, or Scarcity Index. And so the Suspense Comics number 3, the Alex Schomburg cover one, that has a Scarcity Index of 9. So that was, what, 6 to 10 copies in existence, which is one of the reasons. Now there may be, like I said, it's all approximate, but so yeah, that is a 9, and that's one of the reasons why it is also so valuable, because it's a very in-demand cover, and it is extremely rare. And then issue number 4, which is the one that I have here, is marked as a 6. And so I believe a 6 is 50 to 200 copies. Let's see. Yeah, 50 to 200 copies. And from what I've seen, because like I think I've said in prior videos, I watch a lot of auctions, I watch eBay, I watch all this stuff, and I do not see that book come up hardly ever. I mean, actually, this was the first time I think I've seen it come up in 2 years. Now, I know it's sold more often, a couple more times than that, but on things where I've caught it, is the first time I'd seen it in about 2 years. And so I think it's probably closer to it might be a 7 or even an 8. That's how rare I think that book actually is, especially when you start to look on the census and how many copies have been graded. So they're all kind of approximations, but it gives you kind of a good idea how rare that book actually is compared to other books. So one other thing, I just, since I have these books out and I wanted to kind of show some things with it, some of the things that I have always found is it's interesting and frustrating with Golden Age books, is that what they often did was they would start a title with one name, and it would start maybe at issue 1 or whatever, and then they'd hit some random issue number, and they're like, no, we want to change the name. We're going to go with a different name. And so that's one of the things that can be sometimes a little tricky finding books. Now, I think there's an index. I don't remember. Yeah. So there is an index, in the back, so that can help you find them. But what you see is done is that you can actually see where those name changes happen. So I marked this page here where this title started as Thrilling Crime, and I picked this one because it has a lot of L.B. Cole covers in it. Started as Thrilling Crime, and then it started with I believe issue 41, and then as it's going along, Thrilling Crime, Thrilling Crime, Thrilling Crime, then all of a sudden, Shocking Mystery. So at issue 50, it changed to Shocking Mystery, and so it's not, the book itself isn't necessarily in alphabetical order. It's in alphabetical order from the initial title that it went under. But then if the title changes partway through, you're going to see a shift in that title, and it's not going to jump. Shocking Mystery isn't going to jump to the S's in the book. So just something that I always think is kind of interesting, because you can really see where those title changes happened. And there's various reasons I've heard why that happened. It could be just that the publisher changed interest in what they wanted to call the book. But also I've often heard that it's because they didn't want something to start at a 1, because when it starts at a 1, then that means this is something new. People might not be interested in it. But if you start at issue 50, or issue 10 or 3, it's like, oh, this book's already been out for a while. People already want it. It's been out there. I'm happy to buy that book now. So there's just some interesting things that go on with Golden Age. But now that's basically what I wanted to cover with Scarcity. If you watch another future video, I plan on doing another video where I do a flip through of this book, as well as talk about some methods of identifying married centerfolds. And so that'll come up probably soon after this video. But again, thanks for watching. Hopefully, you learned something, or maybe you're interested in picking up these books. I highly recommend it. They are just the art is incredible, and you will definitely. You can just kind of flip through them for a while. It's fun just looking at the different covers that are out there. So please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this, and I will film some more videos when I either come up with some more ideas or get some more books in or whatever it might be. Thanks again.